your dream woman? Like at the moment, one guy that is blowing up the viral is Aaron Pierre. Because for many women, he's like ticking all the boxes. If you had...
He's like the toast of Croydon at the moment.
Yeah, shout out to South London, because that's where we're from.
Gang, gang.
Another topic that I wanted to touch, okay, is catfishing. Now, define catfishing, Bismark.
When something appears differently to as if... Alright, 1 second. When something appears different to how it was sold to you. Now, I am no stranger to catfish. I talk about this quite a bit, but I went on a date, like one of my first Tinder dates, and dated this young lady, and she was lovely. Loved her to bits. But it turned out that she was showing me photos like of her like 5 years prior.
Oh, bless her.
And she had put on a little bit of weight since then.
Bless her cotton socks.
And it was really interesting. So we went Yo Sushi at the time. A lot younger than I am now. And it was a lovely date. I really enjoyed it. And even though I was a bit surprised when she showed up on the date, because she didn't look the way she had portrayed herself to be, not in a rude way. And she was very eager and like enthusiastic, and it was a nice day. And I didn't want to alarm her or make her feel bad or anything like that, because that's just not me. But at the same time, I felt like, I wish you had been like comfortable enough to project who you are in that moment. But then I think a lot of things we need to understand as people, and maybe it's because I'm considerate, is that people don't necessarily feel comfortable on dating apps, and everyone feels like they have to hold themselves accountable to a high standard, because if you don't, then you're not in the race, and people don't care or people aren't interested.
And it's very superficial.
Yeah, and basically what else do you have to go on by looks and a little bit of text that you're getting on the app? So it's like, you've got to make do with the most you can get. So I feel like we're already setting ourselves to really high accountability standards.
Yeah, and also like the apps are made to encourage using filters, putting tons of makeup on, making yourself look as good as you can so they don't swipe to the left, you know? So I get it from a female point of view, like I get the pressure that is there. However, I do believe with your profile pictures, you should try your best not to use filters. I don't know if you can see on the camera, I've got freckles, for example. So I'm not going to be out here and just make all of my pictures look completely not like who I am. Because maybe a guy that I'm dating might be like, oh, you've got freckles, that's cute, I like them. But let's say a guy hates freckles and they're like, it's the devil, okay? And then they see you and they see you got freckles, they might be like, ugh, disgusting, even though you're a fool if you don't like freckles. But let's say that you go on a date, you said you've been catfished, you go on a date, the girl's pictures are XYZ, or maybe she's like a stone smaller or hasn't got freckles but she really has, whatever it may be. Then you see her in real life. Bang! How are you dealing with that?
For me,
honest.
For me, it's always about creating a safe environment, even if I feel violated. So sometimes when I've been catfished, and I make it sound like I've been catfished numerous times, but I don't think I have actually. I think that was the one time where I was really catfished, and apart from that, it's like maybe me being the sort of person I am, I'm trying to create a safe space, but I'm also tallying it. So I'm like, yeah, well, you're a liar, but you're a liar, you're a Decepticon, but I'm also still kind of into the person you are.
But you're not going to still date them if they're a liar.
Yeah, but it's like red flag, green flag, right? It's like the red flag is that you're presenting yourself to be something you're not. But then the green flag would have been the time I spent getting to know you and sort of like texting you and getting to know you as a human being.
Okay, so understanding maybe why they did it.
Yeah, but also like personality and stuff. So I find there's a correlation to people being good, and I got that energy and vibe from that person. So I felt a bit guilty that I was a bit shallow, and I was like, this isn't how you presented yourself.
I wouldn't say that you're shallow. I think in the negative way, I think everyone is shallow to a certain extent. Like we all, especially if you're worked in the performing arts, we all care or have to care about our presentation and our appearance. Like,
physical appearance, yeah.
Yeah, physical appearance. But for me, I have been catfished many times. I've been catfished where guys has done the same thing. they are like way bigger than they are than before.
Or they're shorter, taller, do you get
Or they're shorter, like...
I have a question, is that a common thing, like short kings posing as tally woolies?
Yes, and we're all thankful for our short kings. However, depending on your preference, maybe you like taller kings or climbing trees.
Do you like taller kings?
Huh?
Do you like taller kings?
I do like taller kings.
How tall are we talking?
We're talking, I mean...
6 foot? Do we have like a preference? I like my guys 6 foot.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a specific number.
Do you just want to look up?
Pause.
As in the height?
No, I know. But, sips drink. But, I'm not gonna lie, if we're talking about height and they say, I'm 5'2". No. That's smaller than me. I mean, that's okay. That's what we do.
Guys.
But me personally, I like 6 foot plus. I mean, I've had a couple of partners who've been 6'3", 6'4".
It's interesting because I find, I'd say I'm quite tall. I think I'm 6'1". And I don't discriminate against taller women, but I find that shorter women are more readily available, if you know what I mean.
That is wild. I'm just going to sip on this. What do you mean readily available?
I mean, like, when you're really tall, don't look at me like that, you know what I meant. When I say readily available, I just mean there's a lot more shorter women than there are taller women.
Of course.
Don't try and put me in that's why you're smiling at me.
Y'all heard it. Readily available.
I could have phrased that a lot better, but yeah, like I just
I know
find,
what you mean.
I find that I have a demographic that I'm appealing to.
And that's your type.
To a certain
Is
extent,
it your
yeah.
type? Do you prefer shorter girls or taller girls?
I don't discriminate. However, I find generally that a lot of girls are shorter than me, so I find myself dating girls that are shorter
But
than
if
me.
you had your dream woman, like at the moment, one guy that is blowing up the viral is Pierre.
Pierre, that's Mufasa. What?
If you had...
He's like the toast of Croydon at the moment.
Yeah, shout out to South London, because that's where we're from.
Gang. I'm not from South. East all day, every day.
South.
Exactly.
So what would your type be?
I don't think I've ever really...
Don't even lie and try to say you don't have a type.
No, hear me out. I haven't ever given it thought like that deeply, like I need someone that's 5'1" or 5'3". I find that I do find women that are shorter than me attractive. Mm-hmm. I've also dated women that are a similar height or maybe even taller than me.
No.
And I've never had a problem with it.
You?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I dated someone.
Dancing?
Very briefly.
Career. Dancing, okay, we won't go to
Yeah, I thought we went doing
We're not
specific. Who? What's her name?
What's her
Where does she live?
national insurance number?
No, I think my tall queens out there do your thing, innit?
Oh, 100%. Shout out to everyone. But me personally, I know I prefer a taller man. And I know it's a joke where a lot of tall guys are like, why are you even asking? Even if it's just however much taller, it's still taller than you. It doesn't need to be 6 foot. But it's just a preference. It is what it is. Okay?
Definitely. But I think it's also interesting because as much as say you as a female enjoy dating taller men, the taller women will probably want to date taller men as well. So it's like there's only so much tallness to go around. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like the tall women get shagged because if they don't date the tall men, they have to date the short men. Whereas the shorter women could date the short men and still be taller.
Yeah, but that's on the tall men.
No, the short men could still be taller than the women. But then when you take the really tall men, what do the really tall women have?
But that's on the tall men.
Okay.
The tall men are making their choices.
But the ones above 6'1", yeah.
6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Cool. Let's blame them, not the 6'1s. We'll protect them.
Shout out to the Tall Kings and shout out to Pierre. We're gonna finish with the topic of ghosting. Now, what is ghosting? What's your understanding of ghosting in the dating app world?
Oh man, I'm sorry. I knew I was gonna say something, but I just gotta compose myself. Well, in my opinion, ghosting is when someone's there 1 second and they're not. All of a sudden they disappear.
Gone.
But I think it's...
No, but like, relate that back to the dating apps.
Okay, I think sometimes it's like, because the demand's so strong on the dating apps for people that you can just be really disposable with them, I think there was a phrase in Wayne's World that always resonated. Swing! The BBD, the bigger, better deal. Everyone's always pursuing perfection or trying to get more.
BBD.
Bigger, better deal.
Okay.
And
BBD, guys.
Yeah.
BBD.
Bigger, better deal.
That's the one.
I can't stress that enough.
B-D.
Bigger, better deal.
There you go.
Nothing else, no abbreviations like that. Anyway, my point is, I think with that being said, and there's such a ready amount of men on dating apps willing to pursue women. Women have the pick of the litter, so to speak, when they can kind of be a bit more selective or be a bit more on the hunt. Whereas with men, I feel like if you're not necessarily ticking boxes or people's natural preference, you have to be a bit more patient with your demographic and sort of like navigating how you're finding women that you find attractive and the women you want to pursue. I feel like as men, we're a lot more limited as to what we can get on an app. Whereas with women, it's sort of like an open buffet, if you will.
I love that you think that, because guys seem to think this, but as a woman, I don't feel that way. Maybe because of things that I'm used to or things that I've experienced on the app or in the dating app world, but it's dry. Like, the dating app world is dry and it's repetitive, and I don't want to know where you live and what you do and ask that question 10,000 times. Like, I don't care.
But I think it's a bit like the Wild Wild West. You're just out here and you just got to try and navigate it as best as you can.
You do, but it's so frustrating, and I think that's why people come off of it and then come
And
back
I
on
think
it.
that's why a lot of people don't pursue people with genuine romantic intent, because it's almost like, if I'm too nice, it's seen as weakness and vulnerability, and we're kind of taught, or we've seen these toxic examples of men being really masculine, almost emotionally unavailable, and women finding that attractive and pursuing it.
I mean,
it depends on what you want.
100% depends on what you
think
want.
dating and what you want out of dating varies depending on how old you are. I think as someone in their late 30s, I'm a bit more, I'm not sending for anyone, so you need to ouch, but I think someone in my late 30s, I'm kind of pursuing a relationship to build on and sort of have a future and maybe settle down, have children eventually. I don't think I'm personally in a massive rush, but then also I've got to take into account the fact that I'm a man. So I think my biological clock is a lot longer than, say, a woman's clock is. So I probably feel a lot more comfortable having more time to pursue women and sort of like exploring my options.
Have fun.
Okay.
Basically, have fun. I agree, and definitely for women, we do feel that biological pressure and that societal pressure. You know, some people think that if you haven't had a family or children that you're not successful. Some other people think if you don't have a business or have a house, you're not successful. There's lots of different ideas of success, but in the dating app world, I totally get how people have this blasé attitude, because it's disposable. Like, people feel like it's not real. It's not really real. So
it's societal requirements. We set all these rules on things that we feel as adults we should have. You know, you're 35, you should be driving, or you're 40, you should own property, or you're 40, you should have kids and have settled down. And I feel like sometimes we neglect to think that not everyone's always in that place to make that happen. And the problem is, because we put that pressure on ourselves, sometimes we rush into things we're not ready for. And I feel like we live in a generation of a lot of people breaking up over time. Relationships don't last very long. Divorce is very common. I come from a household where my mum and dad were together for almost 50 years. And I've grown up in a household where all I've seen is my mum and dad love each other and sort of like raise a family based on that. I'm not saying it was perfect all the time. I'm not saying they didn't have arguments. But I come from a household where both of my parents were very much prominent and active in my life. And I hope to mirror that when I do decide to settle down. I'm a settle down woman. I make jokes, like one of the jokes I always make, and I'm sure you've heard this, like, I want mistress money. I want enough money to like have a secret family on the side. But I think that's, you can nod your head in disbelief. But I think when I say that, I make jokes, but it's just having that residual income, especially with us living in the recession, everything costing a lot more. I think sometimes we neglect to think how expensive dating really is, especially if you're single. If you're pursuing, say, multiple people to try and work out someone you want to be with, it's expensive. And a lot of times the women expect you to pay for everything as well.
We do.
No shots being fired, ladies.
No, because I'm one of those ladies. But I totally agree. I totally agree. And for those who do ghost guys to girls, girls to guys, I think it's again connected to the illusion of choice and too many options, people not being that serious, like you just said. And yeah, just that's part of society now. On to the next. What was that?
BBD.
BBD.
The bigger, better deal.
Yes. And yeah, I really want to kind of highlight that phrase that Mia said as well about the dating backwards. I really think that is the crisis of dating at the moment, you know.
I just think it's a new norm.
Which I don't like.
Yeah, but I think it's also, we're blessed and we're cursed at the same time. We're blessed that we've had an experience where we've gotten to see before that we have that as an example.
Definitely.
But not everyone, like our millennials, our generation Alpha, and the betas of this year, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, 2025. They're not going to have that experience. They haven't been brought up in a world where there was no YouTube. They haven't been brought up in a world like without iPhones and iPads and stuff. And it's very technological.
Mm-hmm.
I've been fortunate enough. I remember the days before internet.
Yes.
I remember sitting on AOL and listening to having to wait 5 minutes for it to load up. But everything's very sporadic, quick, up here. And because of that culture and that way of living, we're also trying to do that with every other aspect of our lives. Yep. Dating's very like slap bang.
Yep.
Go on the app, match, talk to them, go out, see if there's a connection. And I don't think that correlates for everyone. And okay, your words, not mine.
That's what they
do. I think it's working out what sort of person you want, what your requirements are, and how's best for you to get it. Mm-hmm. I always find I do a lot better with the dating stuff in person. Like an example, when we went to Thursday.
Yes, which was a couple of years ago now,
a couple of years ago. We went Thursday.
Yes, we did.
Actually, I remember it was your idea, right?
It was my idea.
You pulled my leg, and I'm quite glad you did because I met someone really cool that I'm actually still friends with to this day.
Yeah, so even if you don't have a romantic connection on these things, it's maybe another way to meet friends. And
expand your social circles because you're meeting people. One of the things I found dating in my late 20s to mid 30s was because of the work I do and the amount of people I reach, I know a lot of people. So I really struggle with meeting new people that don't know me, that I can sort of pursue and don't already have an assumption of what I'm about or who I am. Because
of your career, 100%. Yeah. And shout out to Bismark, by the way, who starred in the most recent Wicked film featuring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande.
Oh, thanks. You know, I was just a small part of the bigger team.
It doesn't matter. Stop
it was a beautiful experience, and I just want to shout out to Comfort, Chris, and the other choreographers, Leah, Chris, Amelia. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone. Yeah, it was a beautiful experience, and I'm very fortunate to have been a part of that moment.
Shout out to Bismark. So, yes, thank you so much, Bismark. Do you have any final words of wisdom? Or
it's not so much final words of wisdom. I just think make sure you know what you want and then just go and get it. And I think less F's need to be given in the sense of just do you. And if you're not resonating with people, maybe that's you protecting yourself from being with people that you shouldn't be with. And then you'll genuinely, if you're patient enough, you'll genuinely make a connection with someone that resonates with who you are as a person. Because I feel like sometimes we're trying to put our best foot forward and we're compromising on the things that are really important to us. So it's important that you're unapologetically yourself so that the person gets the gist of you, the real gist of you.
The real you.
And you don't feel like you have to put on a facade or be someone you're actually not.
100%.
Listen, Jazz, it's been a pleasure. I'd just like to say Happy New Year.
Thank you for having me on the show. 2025.
I'm a regular listener, by the way.
Yay!
So it's been nice to be behind the table on the camera rather than, on the podcast. But yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. We will aim to have a new guest every month, but we're very thankful for Bismark today. Round of applause for Bismark.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.